I'm in the club, poppin' with my niggas club. All over, rockin' on them too. I'm cutting my niggas cutting with some wheels. Birds on my timeline with some wheels. I'm coming through, me and all my boys smoking loud.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Timestamps are down in the description box below if you want to get directly into the Double or Nothing review. Otherwise, fuck with me for a moment. And I'm going to warn you guys, I'm pretty sure you're going to find this conversation boring as hell if you happen to be over the age of, 30. So again, anything wrestling related, anything Double or Nothing related, reiterating this again, timestamps, description box. Click on one of those little numbers, go directly into it if you want to hear the wrestling thoughts. I want to kind of relate to you guys a little tiny bit because I was watching this channel. Oh man, what's her name again? My So-Called Gen X Life. It's a channel, great channel where she goes over all the stuff from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, all pop culture related stuff, right? And she was doing like this top 10, man, I'm going to try to kind of get this generalized without having to go too deep into it because I want to kind of go into a deeper topic about this. But she did like this whole little top 10 serious moments of the 90s for all the sitcom shows. And man, I swear we do not get that nowadays anymore, period, point blank. I feel like this is kind of tying in a little bit too to the community post I put out yesterday about cartoon shows. Everything is so fucking milquetoast. Like everything is so goddamn clean and straightforward. You know, she was showing this top 10 thing, right? And unfortunately, one of the episodes that she couldn't show was, you remember the episode from Boy Meets World where Sean, his dad, had a heart attack and they were in the hospital and him and Jack were saying well, I guess they didn't know it was their final goodbyes at that point, but, you know, they were talking to his dad and, you know, kind of having a little bit of closure without recognizing that they were having closure. And then Sean and Jack's dad ended up passing away from the heart attack. And one of the last gifts he gave them, well, more in particular Jack, for his birthday was like a picture of them sitting, you know, hugging and, you know, being a family or whatnot. And like I went down this whole deep rabbit hole in Boy Meets World and I binge watched the shit out of it. More in particular, the latter seasons, right? And man, I miss shows like that. And it ties into wrestling. Bear with me for a minute, right? A little bit it ties into wrestling. I miss shows like that and I miss characters like that. Because I watched another episode, which I haven't seen in decades, bro. Where like, remember the episode where Sean, it's like him and Corey go to a party and they get drunk and then like they promise not to get drunk anymore, but Sean shows up to Mr. Feeney's class and, you know, he's still drunk and he's being obnoxious as shit, and then Mr. Feeney kicks him out of the class. Then he goes back to his apartment and, you know, Corey, he's kind of like chasing him down to see if he's okay, and they make it back to his apartment and Sean picks up the beer and he's like drinking it in front of Corey, and Corey's like, what the fuck, we decided we weren't gonna drink anymore. And then Jack, Sean's brother, comes into the apartment and he catches them drinking, more in particular Sean actually, and he's like, what the fuck, you know, like alcoholism runs in our family. And Sean was like, it's not that big of a deal. And then Jack was like, oh, you know, like it is a big deal because our father is a fucking alcoholic, terrible drunk. And then Sean and him get into a fight over the situation. And then Topanga, and then, you know, Eric comes in, and the other girl, what's her name again? Angela, the black girl, right? They come in and they catch Sean drinking, and then Sean is like, it's not that big of a deal, before Angela tried to pulls him away, and then Sean pushes her against the wall. And it's like, dude, dysfunctional characters. Everything is so clean cut nowadays. I'm gonna be one of the worst influences on you guys, okay? I'm gonna say it straight up. I'm gonna be the worst influence because we need more negativity. Negativity is fucking cool, okay? I'm talking about pop culture. I'm talking about entertainment. I'm talking about all that good shit. We need more negativity. It balances things out. Everything is so clean cut and so fucking positive nowadays. And it's not even positive in the correct direction. People nowadays are so fucking crazy when it comes to their identity that in order to be positive nowadays, you have to reflect positively on their identity, no matter how negative their identity is in itself. I remember back in the days, right, where we all agreed, right, smoking cigarettes was fucking cool. It was a terrible thing, but it was a cool fucking image, right? It didn't matter whether or not you smoked cigarettes. It just looked fucking cool. We need more negative optics back. All right, more negative optics. All right, that's what made the Attitude Era so fucking fun. Stone Cold Steve Austin drinking a beer and sticking his middle finger was fucking cool. DX telling people to suck their dicks was fucking cool. Okay. Undertaker going around carving people's chests and the fucking MOCKERY type of fashion was fucking cool. Mick Foley falling off of cages and damn near dying on every episode of Raw was fucking cool. We don't get any of that nowadays. Everything is so goddamn milquetoast. And that's even assuming whether or not they're even going to go out of their way to tell a story. And yes, I outright blame society. I outright blame social media. It's like everything has turned up to 10 when it comes to sexuality. And all the things that are focused on nowadays is purely sexuality, right? But I would love to see more negative aspects in all aspects of fucking entertainment in general. Positivity in entertainment is fucking boring. Now, it's not to say we have to completely negate positivity. We need that fucking square or whatever to come around to be that nerdy good guy or whatnot. But goddamn, ambiguous, real-life, grounded characters who their intentions are good, even though they themselves are pretty terrible fucking people. The classic anti-hero, if you will, right? The Luke Perry, not to be confused with Jack Perry. His dad is actually the fucking bee's knees, whereas his son is gay. I mean that. We need more of that in wrestling nowadays. And again, pop culture, please take note. Take note. Take note. More negativity. I see people in the comment section, Devontae, you're gay. Devontae, you suck. Devontae, yes! Yes, that is perfectly fine. I would rather you say that than say nothing at all. Today, it's nothing at all. That's what I'm saying. Today is nothing at all. It's just... damn it. That's what makes these comment sessions so fucking fun, when everybody is so fucking negative and everybody is so positive, but even their positive can be negative sometimes. We need more of that. I'm sorry. We need more of that. Please, oh please, bring back negativity. All right, PSA over with. With that being said, let's get directly into the show. Double or Nothing, let's go. All right, so that does it for Mercedes Mone versus Jamie Hayter in the opening. I mean, what can you say? As predictable as the finish was as far as who was going to win the match, I thought the opener was pretty decent. This was okay. I mean, aside from a few little, botches here and there, nothing really terrible, especially that fucking finish. Holy shit. I mean, I don't think that was supposed to be the way how Jamie Hayter was supposed to take that. That looked fucking gnarly. Holy shit. But both girls, they... Again, my problem with a match like this, and I think I've said this plenty of times before in the past, and it's not as if WWE is exempt from stuff like this. AEW does it a lot also. It's the whole having to do big moves that people have established as finishers. And it's not like we're talking about like a DDT or, for an example, I don't know, you want to say something like, I don't know, even like a fucking backbreaker or something, right? All moves at one point in time were done as finishers. But it's like the intentional, constant kicking out of moves that are now, from a legacy standpoint, you know what I'm trying to say? From a legacy standpoint, now known as devastating finishers. That's the part that kills me the most. You know what I mean? Even simple things to a lesser degree, like doing a suplex. And look, again, like I said, WWE isn't exempt from this also. Seth Rollins does this dumb shit all the time too. The whole suplex, and then, you pick someone up for a Falcon Arrow and then they reverse out of it. It's like, it just kills what a superplex was supposed to be meant to do. Like, a superplex at one point in time was a devastating move. That's a devastating move. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing. Call me crazy, right? Call me crazy. Like I said, it's one thing when you see a DDT, right? It's another thing when you can see a superplex. A superplex. You realize that, and I hate this about professional wrestling, how you'll have someone like a John Cena do an AA, which obviously is nowhere near close to the same damage as a superplex, or The Rock doing a rock bottom, which is clearly nowhere near close to the damage of a superplex. I hate how they do things like that, a superplex, just to transition into another move, and it's like the wrestler blocks it. It's just such a fucking pet peeve of mine, man. But it just comes with the territory with 2025 wrestling, right? But nevertheless, the girls, they went out there They did what they can do as far as the big moves, pretty much stereotypical stuff that you would get out of AEW. There was one spot though, as I noted, the botch, right, where and it wasn't really anything terrible. You know, she recovered pretty smoothly. It's just the incompetence of AEW. To have Jamie Hayter run off the steps and do her clothesline, and then she slipped off the stairs, and then she recovered and then she did an actual clothesline. Okay, it's one thing to fuck up the move. It's another thing to replay the move. Why would you replay a botch? Like, why would you do that? I'm looking at that, I'm like, that's so amateurish. Like, come on, dude, you gotta do better than that, man. Don't do shit like that. Why are you replaying a fucking botch, bro? But that's what they did. And like I said, both girls, they're doing their finishers. You know, you had Mercedes once again relying way too much on the Meteor, relying way too much on the backstabber. At a certain point, it did get a little bit nauseating. And like I said, some of the moves, they were kind of miscommunicating. Like, there was one spot in the corner where they were trying to figure out like which way they were going to Irish whip each other into the corner, and they were like stuff like that, right? But like I said, nothing that was too blatant. You know what I mean? Like I said, stop doing people's finishers and making it mean nothing, because that's what happened. Jamie Hayter ended up hitting a tombstone power driver out of a reversal from Mercedes Mone, completely folded her up, and Mercedes kicked out. What can you do? What can you do? She ended up hitting her with a Hayter clothesline, right? Fucking did like a Ushigoroshi, or it looked like she was going for Ushigoroshi, but I don't think she got it all with the back of the knee when she flipped her over out of the Death Valley. But she bounced off the ropes, a rebound, hit her with the Haterade. Mercedes barely getting her arm up. Eventually it got to the point where it looks like she was going to go for another Haterade from what it looks like, and Mercedes reversed that into the bank statement. A couple of more bank statement reversals before Jamie Hayter got it back up for another Haterade. And then like you could tell this was a botch, but it's like it wasn't supposed to be this way. She was going to go for another Haterade, and then like Mercedes pulled her in for a small package for the finish. But when she pulled her in, holy shit, she spiked the fuck. And that's Jamie Hayter's fault, because she didn't tuck her neck, obviously. But when she pulled her in for the small package, fucking Jamie Hayter took like a gnarly spike on the floor. It was almost like a fucking, not even like a small package driver where, like, you know, you lift them up. It was like a fucking DDT damn near into a small package is what it looked like, damn near. But she pulled her in for a small package, spiked her fucking head, and then ended up getting the pinfall. Like I said, was it something that was crazy? I don't think so. You know, you're always going to get the, you know, the obligatory, this is awesome chance and everything, but it's nothing that you haven't seen before, quite frankly. It wasn't terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, you know, at least for me, it's just seen it plenty of times before. I'm kind of jaded to this type of wrestling, but Mercedes did win as predicted, and she's gonna go on to face Toni Storm, because Mina Shirakawa was not winning tonight. So prepare yourself for that. Toni Storm, Mercedes Mone. That's gonna be the match for All In, character versus character, right? So hey, there you go, right? All we needed to do was get to the finish, because we already knew what the fucking outcome was going to be. But coming up next, it looks like it's going to be FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia. So we'll get to that, right? We'll see what's going to happen. Is Edge going to return? Huh? Is anything going to happen with Tony Schiavone? Huh? What? We'll see. All right, continuing on. Like, is it just me, or like, fuck, dude? Damn, again, is this going to be the theme of the show? Like, maybe I'm just getting so fucking old, bro. I swear to God, I think I'm just getting really, really old, and I'm just so out of touch with the in-ring performance. Or maybe it could just be because I took a little hiatus, and I'm just so used to old school wrestling. Like, I appreciate the character work from Dax and Cash, right? I really do appreciate the character work, trying to bring in Tony Schiavone to, you know, help him or get him to help out their story that they're trying to tell. And that's really all they needed to do. The fact that this match went on for so long, mind you, it's only been 2 matches and it's now hitting 9 o'clock. 2 matches in an hour. It's like, this is why these shows go on so fucking long, and it's not necessary, man. It really, really isn't necessary, bruh. I mean, aside from maybe one little small, really kind of embarrassing botch, if you ask me, the match in itself, it's not that it was bad. I can't stress this enough. From an in-ring perspective, obviously, it's AEW, it's 2025 wrestling. You're not going to have what I would necessarily call a bad match. A bad match in 2025 is considered an excellent match about 30 years ago, right? It's just, is it necessary to have to go this long, do all of these spots, do all of these false finishes, knowing that you still have a couple of matches to go? You have a main event that I presume, is going to rely on all these false finishes to get the match over, where it's actually necessary because of the stuff that's tied to it, right? And then you have this tag team match, and it's like it's going on for fucking ever, bruh. It's going on forever. It's like the flow of these matches they're so fucking stupid. They're so stupid. There's no need for these matches to go as long as they're going, man. But, you know, Nigel McGuinness, he looked good out there. I mean, he was kind of out of place a couple of times. I mean, there was one spot, and this is what I was saying, the laughable spot, where they were going to go for a spot where it looked like Dax was supposed to accidentally clothesline Cash, and at the same time, Cash was going to clothesline Dax. But, like, for an example, let's say you have Nigel right there, right? And then you have Daniel right there, and they're facing each other, and it looks like they're going to go for a double clothesline on the back of their heads to make them collide. Daniel moved out of the way, but Nigel didn't move out of the way, and Dax moved him out of the way to clothesline Cash. It looked so and it's saying something because it's Dax and Cash. They're fucking pros, and you would think they have the common sense to just abandon the spot. Like, don't commit to it when it's that fucking... Yeah, Nigel was out of place. Yeah, his timing was terrible. But don't commit to the spot if it's going to make you look that embarrassing. You know what I mean? And for them to commit to it and have Dax move him out of the way to still clothesline Cash, it looked dumb. It looked really, really dumb. But I'm not gonna hold that against him. Just at the Jamie Hayter match when she slipped off the stairs. But maybe, you know, they wouldn't have trouble doing a spot like that if the match didn't go on for so fucking long when it was really not necessary. But this is the part that kills me, right? This is the part that kills me. So you have them do a shatter machine on the floor. Okay, good. Nigel's out of the way, right? You have them hit Daniel Garcia with a power driver. He kicked out. Okay, whatever. Picks him up, hits a spike power driver directly after the move. Puts his foot on the fucking ropes. How do you kick out of a power driver and then go directly into a spike power driver and kick out of that? It's just fucking wild how professional wrestling is nowadays. For Dax to lock in the sharpshooter and then, you know, Daniel passes out in the move. It's like, was it necessary? I don't think any of this was really necessary. Really, it went way too fucking long. Like, this was, for all intents and purposes, a collision match. The fact that you had that embarrassing spot with Dax, which, again, I'm not necessarily holding it against him if this match actually had a purpose towards it, outside of the fact that it went along for practically no reason, if you ask me. I know that they're trying to tell a story with Nigel, but man, it did not need to go this long. It did not need all these spots. It did not need all these false finishes. Today, let's get to the fucking point and let's get this shit out of the fucking way. But they didn't, and really, it was just a extra long version of a collision match, if you ask me. But hey, it is what it is. Continuing on with the show. Now we got Mark Briscoe taking on Ricochet in the stretcher match. So let's see what goofy shit they're going to do in this match. Okay, so I need some of you people who watch Collision more consistently. And maybe it could be the fact that I haven't watched Dynamite legitimately. And, well, it's now going to be 3 weeks since the last time I watched Dynamite, right? And I just don't watch Collision at all, period. Like, why was this match as brutal as it happened to be? Like, anybody, can anyone help me out here? There's multiple things about this match that I don't like, right? One, like I said, this is almost reminiscent of Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle. But even then, at the very least, was Shane and Kurt, when they did their match at the King of the Ring, like, say, and I know some of you go, oh, Devontae, don't you mean Kane and Shane at Survivor Series? No. I mean Shane and Kurt. Because at least with Shane and Kane, when they had their match at Survivor Series in 2003, like, they had a feud. Like, you do realize Kane and Shane, this was November, right? Kane and Shane started the feud like a little bit around SummerSlam time in 2003, right? It all stemmed from the fact that Kane tombstone power driver Linda on the stage. That was the reason why Kane and Shane feuded. They feuded from, I guess, technically July or August all the way up to November, and it climaxed in the stretcher match, right? Because of the damage these guys kept doing to each other, right? Whether you had them jumping off of stages, whether you had Shane legitimately kicking Kane into a dumpster of fire, whether you had Shane fucking letting a limousine hit a trailer with Kane inside it, whether you had Kane electrocuting Shane's dick, like, They were legitimately trying to murder each other. That's why it climaxed the way it climaxed. Why I say Shane and Kurt Angle is because, and I said this before when I reviewed King of the Ring on my old channel, it was one of the most, how do I put this, unnecessary violent matches of all time. Right? They legitimately had no heat for the most part coming into this match outside of the fact that you had an invasion angle. You had Shane disrupt Kurt Angle during his Olympic gold medal ceremony bullshit that he did when he got his Olympic gold medals back from Benoit, right? And they had their match. It was so unnecessary for it to be that fucking brutal. Now, yes, it's a legacy. It's legendary. But it was unnecessary nonetheless, right? But like I said, it was, or I didn't say, but I'm going to say now, it was an anomaly. Those types of matches in WWE was an anomaly. You didn't really see shit like that for real. Maybe in ECW, but ECW was closed down at that point in time, and it wasn't relevant for about a good 3 years. Well, it's been closed down for a couple of months, but it wasn't relevant at that point in time for like 2 or 3 years. You get this match with Ricochet and Mark Briscoe, and they do all of this shit to each other, and I don't know where the heat is coming from for them to be having a match like this. And maybe, again, there's some context that I'm missing from Collision. I didn't watch Dynamite, but I kept up to some degree, you know, looking at highlights and shit like that. I don't remember them doing anything significant enough for them to have a fucking stretcher match. Like, not even a one-on-one match, like a stretcher match. I just don't understand what the fuck was the point of this. And they do all this shit with the tables and no selling the table essentially too, for the most part, with Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. They just did the spot like it was a video game. You know, doing all this shit. Mark Briscoe is bleeding like fucking hell. And it's just so unnecessary. It's so fucking unnecessary. And then another part of this is like we still have that stupid fucking Anarchy in the Arena match to get to later on tonight. You know what I mean? And they're going to do way more dumber shit than this, obviously. But it's like, why undercut the heat for that match by even doing remotely close to the shit that you're going to do in that match? Like, it just makes no sense. Like I touched on before in the last match, the booking flow is horrendous when it comes to AEW. Like, this booking flow shit is fucking horrendous. Again, this just felt like a garbage fucking backyard wrestling match, essentially. You got fucking scissors. You got them doing flips on the stretcher. And like I said, maybe if the heat called for it, I wouldn't be too opposed to the shit that they were doing. But even then, the spots that they were doing, all the devastating shit just felt like transitional spots. There was like literally no selling in this match whatsoever. And when you tie that into the fact that you get this shit all the time throughout AEW, really throughout the annals of professional wrestling, it just climaxes into what I consider to be a dumb garbage match. It is what it is, but that's what it is. It's a dumb garbage video game match that had no heat to it whatsoever, that was completely fucking unnecessary. And yeah, you're gonna get the marks out there who are gonna cheer this shit and be like, yeah, this is wrestling, AEW, because they can't be original enough to come up with their own concept of cheering, so they have to take ECW and convert that into AEW and chant it in that type of way. It's just so dumb, bro. There's no story. It's just everything is lacking. It's just go out there and do spots, and I just fucking hate shit like that. For at least the Anarchy Arena has story to it. I mean, it's a terrible fucking story, and quite frankly, everything they're gonna do in that match is gonna undercut the story. But at least there's story. This match has nothing attached to it. It's just there for the sake of being there. It's just dumb. It's just dumb fucking wrestling. It's just fucking dumb. But if you like it, hey, more power to you. But hopefully we get some story out of this. We got the Hurt Syndicate coming up right now to take on the Texas boys, right? I don't give a fuck about the match in itself from an in-ring perspective. I'm not even sure if it's going to be good. I doubt it's going to be good. But what I care more about is what's going to happen post-match. What I care about is what's going to happen throughout the duration of the match and what it's going to set up. So hopefully we get some decent storytelling out of this match. I've been very, very, very satisfied with this story these past couple of weeks. So like I said, hopefully we get something out of this, but this stretcher match is just the epitome of dumb fuckery when it comes to wrestling. But coming up next, Hurt Syndicate versus Sammy Guevara and Goldust. So let's get to it. Well, okay, well, that was it. That was it. All right. The only good things I'll say about this match is the fact that Goldust is almost 60 years old and still pulling off, moves like the way he's moving around. The fact that Shelton is like 50 and he's still moving the way that he's moving. Bobby Lashley, for the most part, too. He's a little bit more stiff. But, credit where credit is due for these guys to be like, damn near in their 50s and 60s and still pulling off matches like this. You wouldn't be able to tell me their ages if I didn't know for the fact what the hell they were actually, how old they actually were. But with that being said, this was no bueno for me. This was absolutely no bueno for me. Outside of the fact that, MJF being in this did make it a little bit more entertaining, did make it a little bit more suspenseful, but we didn't get any turn. We didn't necessarily get any progress with what's going on. It's clear that I think eventually Cedric Alexander is going to be the person to take out MJF and take his spot in the Hurt Syndicate. That's pretty clear, right? But that does take away from the fact that this match in a scope was pretty fucking boring, pretty fucking dead. Well, I wouldn't say dead. The crowd was behind the Hurt Syndicate with the We Hurt People stuff. That was pretty cool, I guess. I mean, weird because they're heels, but hey, 2025, theme of the show, right? Theme of the review, 2025 wrestling, folks, in a nutshell. But they didn't really do anything. In ring-wise, this is boring. They didn't really progress anything. The finish felt very off, very, mistimed. A lot of these matches tonight, with the exception so far of the stretcher match, that's the only match that didn't have anything wonky happen inside it. These finishes and the mistiming of some of these spots, man, it's noticeable in most of these matches, man. But you had MJF constantly trying to get involved in the match, and at one point in time he was trying to hand the diamond ring to Shelton Benjamin to use, and most people are going to probably be like, MJF, what the fuck, are you stupid? You're going to get them disqualified, which that's the point, folks. He's a heel. You get disqualified, you get to retain the championship belts even though you lose the match. You've been watching professional wrestling for the longest. That was the whole point of MJF trying to give him the ring. That's why he said this is taking way too long. Just use the ring and get this over with. That was the whole point. And I get that, and I like the consistency and continuity of the story that they're trying to tell with MJF. We get to a point where, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin were stunned for a little bit. MJF looks like he's going to use the diamond ring on Goldust. He pulls out the diamond ring. Goldust stops him. He ends up raking his eyes. Bobby Lashley pulls him to the side to read him the riot act because he sees he's preparing to hit him with the diamond ring. Bobby Lashley, he's holding his arm. He's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Eventually, he smiles at him. MJF smiles back. I guess they're trying to say that he put him into position for this to be the case, because Goldust was in the position and he ate a spear from Bobby Lashley, which broke the barricade. Typical barricade breaking spot that we see all the fucking time. You seen it for the first time like 13 years ago. I know I seen it for the first time like 13 years ago during the whole 3-on-3 Shield versus Ryback, Bryan Danielson, Kane match in TLC back in 2012. That's the first time I ever seen a barricade break spot, and I thought it was the coolest shit ever. And now it's one of the most nauseating, boring spots, period. I mean, we just seen a barricade breaking spot last night with CM Punk and Bronson Reed, right? But nevertheless, though, Sammy Guevara, which, by the way, the fall from grace from this guy, holy shit, that shit needs to be studied. It looks like he was going to go for a suicide dive on MJF and Bobby Lashley, who were pretty much celebrating that Bobby hit the spear on Goldust. And I guess the spot was supposed to be Sammy goes for a suicide dive and then Shelton cuts him off with a knee to the face. But Shelton didn't get there in time, and it just looked really, really wonky. It looked like Sammy Guevara kind of stalled a little bit when he went for the suicide dive to allow Shelton to hit the knee, but Shelton didn't even connect the knee. It just looked really, really wonky. And it looks like he was going to go for a super kick, but then Sammy backed into the corner at the last minute to allow Shelton to handle. It's like Shelton was forgetting his spots. Clear as day, Shelton was forgetting his spots. But then he eventually hit a super kick on Sammy to pick up the win. Like I said, this match was very mistimed. I guess the story of MJF and his camaraderie with the Hurt Syndicate was the main point of the match, but it doesn't take away from the fact that there was really no progression outside of the fact that MJF is in the Hurt Syndicate, and it was just boring. Without any of the post-match stuff that I was kind of figuring was going to happen, it was just a boring match. It was a boring match that had some entertaining spots, but not enough to make up for the fact that this was a boring match, unfortunately. But speaking of boring matches, we have Goku versus LGBT Matt Hardy. So let's get to that right now. Kazuchika Okada and Mike Gailey, one-on-one, and the most pointless match that I could possibly think of. Like, is this just going to be a trend where every single match you're going to have at least one big fuck up that's incredibly fucking noticeable? Holy shit. Honestly, this match was, again, just another Dynamite-esque type of... This is the problem when you have matches like this every week on Dynamite. They don't really stand out on the pay-per-view. Now you guys see what... I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from reviewing this show. Like, everything that you're seeing on the show, you can get on an episode of Dynamite. This is the problem when you focus so much on in-ring stuff. It takes away from what the fuck you could be actually doing on the pay-per-views. Bro, I can't stress this enough, man. You could just theoretically go out there and just have a pretty solid match and tell stories throughout the night to get people to want to resonate with your character, so it means more when you actually watch the pay-per-view shows. Because honestly, when you come into a match like this, who the fuck watched this match and who the fuck gave a flying shit about this match besides the AEW faithful? Like, really, the only good thing about this match, honestly, was the finish. I fuck with that finish. That was a dope-ass finish. But outside of the finish, everything in this match was just... yeah. You know, like, Speedball Mike Gailey and his selling is fucking horrendous. Like, I can't tell you how many times... And this is nothing against Okada. Actually, I will actually give props to Okada in this match. He was a good base the majority of this match, and he pretty much wrestled how you're supposed to wrestle. It's Speedball Mike Gailey and his stupid selling and his stupid spamming of the fucking roundhouse kicks. Dude didn't know any of the fucking move besides the roundhouse kick. I just want to know, I want to get some consistency here from the marks who say things like Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso was a terrible match at WrestleMania last year. Okay, credit where credit is due. I'll say the same thing. It was a bad match, right? For all intents and purposes, it was a bad match, especially in hindsight. But there's no way you could say them spamming the super kick is what made this match bad, but then you watch a match like this and all Speedball Mike Gailey has done the entire match was flips, and literally 90% of his entire offense was spinning roundhouse kicks. That's it. Roundhouse kick, roundhouse kick, roundhouse kick, roundhouse kick, roundhouse kick, roundhouse kick, roundhouse kick. I mean, this dude spammed the roundhouse kick like he thought it was a fucking meteor and he was in the body of fucking Sasha Banks. Then again, he's non-binary, so he might identify as a fucking Sasha Banks. I don't fucking know. But like I said, the selling of this match was fucking horrendous. Just Speedball Mike Gailey probably thinks he's in a fucking video game. Maybe he identifies as a video game character also. And it was just pointless. For me, it has no heat whatsoever. I thought the match was just spam worthy. It was fucking boring and just... I feel like if you want to watch shit like this, just watch a fucking compilation of Bruce Lee fucking kicks and martial arts movies. Like, just go watch that. Go watch a Taekwondo match. Go watch a Kung Fu fucking match or something. Do something worth your time and watch something like that. At least there's legitimate contact, right? And then you have that Rick Knox guy. Holy shit. I know I heard people say all the time he's one of the worst referees of all time, but goddamn, bro, like, holy shit, he's fucking terrible. He is fucking terrible. Like I said, every match so far, outside of maybe the stretcher match, because it's a gimmick match, which doesn't end in pinfall or anything like that, it's been having wonky spots. Fucking... I can't even remember the move that he went for. I think he hit him with his Adventure Time kick. Oh, look, another roundhouse kick. And, like, he went for the pinfall on Okada. And, like, he fucking counted the 3 counts. Like, Okada put his hand on the ropes, and Rick Knox counted the 3 counts. He's the... Just the worst referee of all time, and just another fucking wonky spot. Like, another fucking wonky spot, bruh. But like I said, the only props I'll give to this match was the finish. Speedball Mike Gailey went for a fucking shooting star press, and as he's flipping, Okada hits him with a standing drop kick and catches him in the back as he's flipping. So I don't think he was going for a shooting star, but I think he was going for that shooting star press into the knees. He fucking spammed throughout this match also, right? But when he did the fucking rotation, like, he rotated, right? So it's not even like a 360. It was more like a 540, right? And when he did the 540 in mid-air, fucking Okada drop kicked him in the back and then picked him up and hit him with the Rainmaker. It was nice. That was a solid finish. That was actually really, really good finish. You do the move, he catches you with the drop kick, and he immediately hits you with the Rainmaker. Bob's your uncle. That's it. That was good. Everything else in this match, really, you can miss. You don't have to watch this match at all. You just be wasting your fucking time. If you like spammy video game spots and just constantly spamming the fucking roundhouse kick, if you like kung fu fucking fighting, if you like Ninja Turtles, this is the match for you. Otherwise, for us normal wrestling fans who actually care for story, characters, and, you know, things that are relevant within the match, skip this match, go watch the highlights, and just go directly to the finish. That's all you need to fucking see. But coming up next, we got Toni Storm and Manirika Boma. So hopefully this does something. Apparently, you know, you can skip the whole tournament and jump directly into a title match if you happen to be Japanese, because, you know, look the other way when you're Japanese in this AEW, right? Tokyo Dome! Tokyo Dome! Alright, Mina Shikamakanaka versus Toni Storm. Well, at least this Japanese talent happens to be signed with AEW this time, I guess, right? But, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just so over, like, the Japanese wrestling, women stuff. It's just, I'm just over it, honestly. I'm just over it. I'm just over it. They're not stars. They're not stars. R. Angelo. Sorry, bro. I know you love the Joshis, bro. I'm sorry. I just don't care for them. I just don't care, man. Like, there has to be some kind of star appeal. Like, I'll put Io Sky to, like, the side because she's a star. But, like, the other Japanese women, it's like they come to wrestling just to lose to the American wrestlers. And it's like the same thing over and over. Are they kissing? Aww. Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa just kissed. That was beautiful. That was nice. Is that like their entire? It's like Mina's whole gimmick is just, you know, being a lesbian. Like, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. But, like, you know, I would like to see full on makeout sessions. So you don't just have to do a little peck. You know, you can just like sit there and just, you know, completely make out with each other. But as predicted, it's going to be timeless Toni Storm going up against Mercedes Mone. Oh, look. And as I'm saying that, the match graphic pops up at All In Texas. So, there you go. But this match, just another Japanese women's match. You've seen one, you've seen them all, right? They go in there and they just lose. I mean, the only good thing I'll say about this, leave it up to the fucking women to be the ones to actually go out there and actually sell for a fucking change. Timeless Toni Storm, she sold the fuck out of her knee. That I will give credit for. She sold the dog shit out of her knee. And she worked over the knee. They told a story with the leg. That I will give credit where credit is due. You don't see that very often in AEW. You don't see it. You didn't see it at all tonight. Again, leave it up to the women to actually go out there and show the boys what it means to actually fucking sell, right? But as she was selling, you go to the finish, and essentially it was timeless Toni Storm. She hits Mina Shirakawa with a headbutt, which Mina bent over. Toni Storm picked her up, hit her with the Storm Zero. No false finish, no bullshit. I mean, she did hit her with her, what she calls the Glimmer's Driver, which is just Devon's old reverse DDT that he used to do. Actually, I think Ricochet does too. He calls it the recoil, right? But he does it with a little bit more impact. That's what Mina Shirakawa essentially did. I mean, that's a horrible fucking finish. But she did that, and then, you know, timeless Toni Storm kicked out. And like I said, hit her with the headbutt. Hit her with the Storm Zero, got the pin. Bob's your uncle. Get the fuck in, get the fuck out. Wasn't really that long, also, so I'll give credit where credit is due. This match, it was, I mean, whatever. I'll probably go 2.5 stars. I mean, it wasn't anything noteworthy, but it's in the books. You just needed a women's match for the women's championship on the card, so it is what it is. But coming up next, folks, the main reason we're watching the show, 1 out of 2 of the main reasons, Anarchy in the fucking arena. I might have to take notes for this bullshit, but are you guys ready? You might get a huge rant. Actually, you're probably guaranteed to get a fucking huge rant. I'm almost actually scared to see what the fuck they're gonna ruin wrestling. They're gonna ruin wrestling with this match. That's it. They're just gonna ruin wrestling. All right, you boys ready for probably the worst match of all time? I know I am. Alright. Holding my breath. Let's do this. Anarchy. They already have tables set up. Oh my fucking god. Okay. Anarchy in the arena. Alright. Let's take it from the beginning. So. Oh, wrestling is so fucking screwed. Where do you go from this? What do I say about this? What do you say about this? Where do you go from this as far as wrestling? Where do you go for this? Huh? Oh my god, bro, wrestling is fucked. Wrestling is absolutely fucked. So they started off the match by playing the pointer system. Yeah, that's how we started off, folks. They were playing I'm So Excited, and I Just Can't Hide It. Mind you, this is after the Young Bucks got a special entrance where they were pretty much introduced as the forefathers, like they were fucking presidents of the United States or some shit. They're playing the Pointer Sisters. They're beating the fuck out of each other throughout the entire arena. Eventually, Kenny Omega gets a microphone, and he's like, no, we need to play some of that 2000 shit, some of that alternative music. And he plays Bodies by Drowning Pool. Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, right? Which is not alternative rock, it's new metal, but it is what it is. They beat the fuck out of each other throughout the arena to Bodies, right? And they're doing all kind of crazy shit. You know, you have Kenny Omega hitting a backflip off the entranceway in the back of the arena, like the same spot that Jeff Hardy did the Swanton Bomb off of on Bubba Ray Dudley on their Tornado Tag Table match like 25 years ago. Kenny Omega did a backflip off of the fucking barricade onto a pile of people, which followed up with what's his name? Will Hobbs throwing Wheeler Yuta off the platform in that area into the amount of people on the bottom of the floor. Mind you, this is after Jon Moxley essentially committed murder and started stabbing the fuck out of Will Hobbs' head. He even like jabbed him in the throat. Otherwise, we get to the backstage area, right? Mind you, then beginning of the match, you had Willow Nightingale taking a suplex on top of the barricade from Marina Shafir, but they end up backstage fighting each other. You have Marina Shafir take a bottle to the face from Willow Nightingale. She's busted open now. You have Shibata, the wrestler. He's beating the fuck out of Wheeler Yuta backstage. He put some barbed wire around his foot, and he kicked Wheeler Yuta in the chest while he was sitting in a chair. This is all happening backstage. Eventually, we get back to the ringside area, right? You have all these guys beating the fuck out of each other. You have Jon Moxley, you know, hitting the fucking... well, first off, let me get to the actual in-ring stuff, right? Because eventually, you had Will Hobbs. He is fighting the Young Bucks. It's so much fucking chaos going on right now at the moment, right? These guys are all beating the fuck out of each other. The music eventually stops playing because you have Cesaro, who hits a giant swing on, I think, Kenny Omega, if I'm not mistaken, and he throws him into the speakers, which explodes. In the ringside area, you have Willow Nightingale, who got her earlobe handcuffed, or it was like padlocked to a chain that was wrapped around the fucking pole, right? This is all happening, folks. I shit you not. Yes, this is wrestling. Believe it or not, this is what they call wrestling. Like I said, in the staging area, bodies stopped playing after Cesaro giant swing Kenny Omega through the speaker. You have Will Hobbs, who's busted open. Kenny Omega is fucking laid out. You get back into the ring. You have a spot, because eventually they brought Kenny Omega back to the ringside area where there's tables laid out. Right now, the Ops and Kenny and Swerve Strickland, they're fucked up at the moment. Kenny Omega's hanging on the ropes. The Young Bucks do this spot where they like do a double stump on Kenny Omega, which inside outs him on the outside of the ring, through a table. It's just pure chaos. The Young Bucks, they do their Tombstone Powerdriver 450 on Shibata on the floor. They're all just fucking each other up. Like I said, fucking Marina Shafir is busted open. They're taking the advantage now. They're fucking them up something serious. Eventually, it gets to a point where they pull out a staple gun. Yes, because this is a thing. They pull out a fucking staple gun. And they all just started stapling each other. Yep. They all put out, it was 2 staple guns, and they're all stapling each other. Swerve Strickland eventually gets because Will Hobbs is taking staple spots, and he's like no-selling it. Eventually, Swerve Strickland gets a staple gun, and he starts stapling everybody on the team. It was a spot where Cesaro threw him up in the air, and he stapled him in the forehead when he was going for the very European uppercut. And then Marina Shafir, because you had the Young Bucks who stapled Swerve, and then they were going to do a spot. I think it was Matt Jackson, and then Swerve stapled him in the nuts. Yep. When he stapled him in the nuts, it looks like he was going to go for something else with the staple gun until... oh, by the way, he stapled Jon Moxley in the neck. Just throwing that out there, too. Marina Shafir low blows Swerve Strickland. She pulls out his tongue, and she staples his tongue. Yep. Eventually, the Young Bucks, they start throwing double super kicks to everybody, including Willow Nightingale, and including Prince Nana or Prince Nene. They super kick them off the apron. They're all still going back and forth. Eventually, the return of Hook, he comes back and he evens out the odds, right, a little tiny bit. He hits Cesaro in the neck with what looked like a pipe. And he turned his back on Samoa Joe, which is obviously a story playing out because they replaced him with Will Hobbs. And they had the advantage for a little bit, eventually, until we got Gabe Kidd, who comes out. And he starts to attack all the members of the Ops and Swerve and Kenny. And he beats the fuck out of them. Mind you, before all this, Jon Moxley hit an RKO on Willow Nightingale. And while they're beating the fuck out of all of them, you know, they set up a spot for Willow Nightingale. This is kind of out of order, by the way, too, but bear with me. It looked like they're going to go for the little Tombstone 450, the Young Bucks, on Willow Nightingale before they took them out, and then they reversed it. Willow Nightingale puts, I think it was Nick Jackson, in the power driver position, the Tombstone, and then Swerve Strickland ends up hitting a spike power driver, a spike Tombstone, on Nick Jackson with the help of Willow Nightingale. But like I said, going back a little bit further, Gabe Kidd evened the odds. He took all the members and beat the fuck out of them, and then they all started to make their way up towards the pit area next to the ambulance truck. And eventually they got the advantage, the Ops that is, and they locked the Death Riders inside of the ambulance truck that Ricochet and what's his name were fighting in earlier. Ricochet and what the fuck is that nigga name again? Mark Briscoe. Which, by the way, he interfered also. Still blood all over his face to even the odds because Gabe Kidd is out there. He starts to fight him, and that's how eventually they locked him into the ambulance truck because he helped them out. It came down to the Young Bucks being in the ring with Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland. They took them out, right? Oh, by the way, before all this also, before they actually got the advantage, they put thumbtacks in Kenny Omega's mouth, and they ended up hitting the V-trigger, not a V-trigger, but the being the elite knee on Kenny Omega while he had his thumbtacks in his mouth. And Jon Moxley locked in the Bulldog choke while he was spitting out thumbtacks at him. Because this is wrestling, folks. This is all wrestling. This is all happening in real time. But like I said, they eventually locked the Ops in the ambulance truck. And it came down to the Young Bucks, Kenny, and Swerve. Kenny took one of the Young Bucks upstage, and he ends up hitting a one-winged angel off the stage through a table that exploded. Oh, no. But it gets better because we eventually get to the finish. Swerve Strickland pulls out a pair of shoes. It's a Young Bucks special. It's his new Reebok shoes, by the way. And on the bottom of the shoes, thumbtacks are glued to the bottom of the shoes. 2 pairs of shoes. And Swerve hits a swerve stomp on Matt Jackson with the thumbtacks attached to his shoes to finally pick up the win in this god-awful, god-forsaken, horrifically fucking wrestling-ruining fucking match. I don't know what to say. I guess I expected all this. I can't sit here and pretend I wasn't expecting all this. I absolutely was expecting all this. This is just garbage. It's the epitome of fucking garbage. It's the epitome of fucking garbage. Between the padlock locking onto Willow Nightingale's ear, between the thumbtacks, the explosions and electrocutions, the glass with the beer bottle, the thumbtacks attached to the shoes, all the music playing in the background obnoxiously throughout the entire time, because that's what, Anarchy in the Arena happens to be. I look at this and it's like, what more can you say about a match like this besides the fact that it's just the epitome of 2025 wrestling? Now, see, you expect me to come out here yelling and screaming and saying how this is just the death of professional, which it is. It absolutely is. But yelling and screaming, it's just not worth it anymore when talking about AEW. Like I said, the only thing about this match that I can say was a good thing is that I went into this match, and it's almost like having the gun pulled up to your head and them saying any last words. At least you expect it to come. You expect to get shot in the fucking head. That's what you expect. And that's the only good thing about this match, was that you've seen all this bullshit coming. You've seen all this terrible shit coming. It's just backyard wrestling expanded onto a grand stage, put out there, and then exploited to say, essentially, this is what wrestling is. And people eat this shit up. People eat this shit up. They use this as a substitute to tell you that everything that's happening currently right now with this dumb fucking Death Rider and Young Bucks affiliation storyline is a good thing. They used all of this as a facade to tell you that professional wrestling is in a great shape right now, and people eat this shit up. That's the sad part. That's the part that kills me. That's the part that really fucks with my mind the most. Because no matter how many garbage wrestling you see, no matter how many, the proverbial seeing two dogs fucking on the side of the road, no matter how many times you have to see this shit, no matter how many times you have to see a fucking car accident, no matter how many times you have to see gore, apparently it has to happen in different variations for you to be satisfied. That's my problem with this. And then you have people who eat this shit up, and all you essentially do is that you tell professional wrestling, you tell the promoters, you tell all these losers, apparently, that everything that you see in this match is what you need to do going forward as a deflection for actual good storytelling and character development. That's my main aggravating part about this match. That's the travesty about this fucking match. And the worst part about it is that you're going to get marks coming throughout my comment section, essentially saying that you're a hater, essentially saying that you're nothing more than a WWE mark. Every fucking deflection done in the goddamn book, every ad hominem thrown at you, except for actually seeing for what the fuck you're actually watching, and what the fuck you're actually seeing and what the fuck you're actually watching happens to be in regards to the presentation. You take garbage wrestling and you use it as nothing more than a fucking facade to tell everybody that what you're seeing currently at the moment is good professional wrestling, and all this is just a deflection. Gone are the days of actually storytelling and rivalries and feuds that actually make sense, culminating in a legitimately good storytelling. And it happens every single fucking year. Every single fucking year. There will never be a good Anarchy in the Arena match. Let me tell you, there will never be a good Anarchy in the Arena match. It's just cosplay CZW, a poor man version of ECW without any of the fucking soul. And they pretend as if what you're seeing currently at the moment is fucking good. Violence for the sake of violence in order to put up a facade as far as professional wrestling being good. And then people are like, you're being emotional for no fucking reason. I love professional wrestling. I'm a professional wrestling fan. I've been so for 30 years. And to see it completely raped like this, it's nothing more than just, it's just heartbreaking. It's disheartening. It's really disheartening. And then people put this on the pedestal and they tell you that what you're seeing right now is good. I mean, how much trash do you have to see? How much garbage do you have to see without being satisfied? That's the part that I just don't fucking get. That's the part that I just don't fucking understand. Like I said, the only noteworthy thing about this is that this wasn't the main event. We're not going off the air on a low note. I never thought I'd actually say this, but I need Will Ospreay to go out there and kill it tonight. Put on a great performance. Please, put on a great performance. Because you're going to have to do something to cover up for this bullshit right here. Just what a travesty. What a travesty. And people are going to actually eat this shit up. That's the sad part. Professional wrestling is fucking screwed. That's all I got to say. Professional wrestling is fucking screwed. But please, say whatever you want to say about me in the comment section. I don't care. Thumbtacks, staple guns, electrocutions. And you get it almost on. And the worst part about it is this is something. Almost every spot was done individually on an episode of Collision with women, low card women at that. But then you take it all and put it all in one little bundle and you say, "Oh, there you go. That's professional wrestling." You're entitled to your opinions. Say whatever you want to say. Like I said, at least they put the gun to my head and they said any last words. That's all I can say about it. Continuing on with the show. Honestly, I didn't even know this was a match. I didn't even know this was on the fucking card. Who cares? Who fucking cares? Never mind the fact that that match has completely just drained me. I don't care about this match. I thought they were going directly into the main event. Don Callis family won. Fucking, I forgot who did what. Was it? I don't know. Kyle O'Reilly took a brain buster. I can't remember from who. I don't care. And you don't care. Either you have common sense and you fucking hated that Anarchy and the bullshit match and it completely drained you, or you love the match and you're a fucking retard and it completely drained you. Either way, on either side, no one gave a fuck about this match. It was just filler. I mean, it's the only good thing that they done on this card was that they put legitimate filler in between this and the main event. Because Lord knows I didn't want to go in the main event feeling this way. I didn't. I actually want to see this match. I actually am going to try my best to be optimistic and go into this with a clear head and a clear mind because I do want to see this match. But that Anarchy and the Arena match just completely drained me. It took it out of me, man. And then they had the nerve post-match to bring out Brody King, like, who fucking cares? And then they brought out Hiroshi Tanahashi, who fucking cares? You have to be the most diehard of diehard AEW, a Japanese mark, to give even the slightest fuck about any of this. Good for you if you cared. I fucking don't. Just moving on. I just don't care. This match sucked anyways. From what I was watching in the background, it fucking sucked. It's a fucking Collision match. Why was this even on the damn card? Beyond me. Who fucking cares? Just get to the main event. Let's just get this shit over with. I just don't understand how you can do something like this on such a shitty show. Like, holy fuck. Talk about a needle in a fucking haystack. This was fucking fantastic. What a excellent fucking match. What a fantastic fucking match. Yeah, I think so far this is probably my match of the year. This was fantastic. This is fantastic. It's funny. I never seen a show like this ever in my life. At least for me, you had arguably one of the worst matches in AEW history, and at the same time, you arguably had one of the best matches in AEW history. This was fucking golden. This was golden. These guys, this is probably, I will say this is Will Ospreay's second best match. I still like the Bryan Danielson match a tad bit more than I do this match, just by not by much, but by a smidge. But this is Hangman's best match he's ever had in this company. These guys, the sell job from these guys was fucking phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal sell job. Excellent. This is actually taking the taste of that garbage ass Anarchy in the Arena match out of my mouth. This is what professional wrestling is all about. This match is what professional wrestling is all about, man. I wish they do this more often. Not on television. You go out there on television, you sell a very, very good match, you hype it up in a promo, you make it something of worth, it's substantial, and then you go out there and you just have a killer fucking match like this, man. These guys, and it wasn't like flips for the sake. One thing I loved about this match the most, which you don't get out of Will Ospreay matches, and quite frankly, not even a lot of these flippy dippy wrestlers nowadays, every spot they did, every single flip that was done by Will Ospreay, for the first time I think I've ever seen him do this, every flip, A, had impact behind it, and B, it was worth a damn. It wasn't like one of those group all in together and then catch a guy. It was done for a purpose. And then the aggression behind Will Ospreay, you can feel it, man. You can feel it. Just like every fucking shot that Hangman threw at him, Will Ospreay would throw like 5 more. It was one particular. Actually, one of my favorite spots in this match was something so minuscule. I like how when Hangman kicked out of one of the hidden blades, and when he kicked out of the hidden blade, Will Ospreay, out of frustration, right? Because Hangman rolled to the other side of the ring because he went for the buckshot lariat, and Will Ospreay hit him with the hidden blade, and he rolled to the outside of the ring. Oh no, actually no, he actually tried to go for the BME. I take that back, and he botched it a little bit, but he recovered nicely. He hit the moonsault, and then he rolled to the outside of the ring. And when he rolled to the other side of the ring, Will Ospreay just ran over there and he just started throwing hands at him. Like actual fighting, throwing hands at him. I'm like, look at this shit here. The aggression behind these guys. I can't put this into. You got to watch the match for yourself to get my understanding. It felt like something was on the line. That's all I can ask for in my wrestling matches, is for something to feel legitimate, something to feel real. And these guys, the way that they were selling, the fact that when he hit him with the final hidden blade of the match, and Hangman just collapsed. No, I'm sorry. He hit him with I think it was the Storm Zero or the Storm Driver or whatever he calls it. The Storm Twister or whatever, and then he tried to go for the hidden blade again, and then Hangman just collapsed. That was fucking phenomenal. Even the botched announcement table spot was actually good, because you had Will Ospreay. He took him to the announcement table, and it looked like he was gonna go for a Tiger Driver, I guess, through the announcement table, and Hangman reversed it into a Deadeye, but the table collapsed underneath the weight, and it was a botch. But it was a botch that just looked legitimate. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. He botched it, but it looked like a struggle. Like it looked like the table was supposed to collapse, if that makes any sense. And he landed directly on top of his head, and it looked like it really, really sucked. That botch looked like it really, really fucking sucked. Just for Hangman to pick him right back up again and hit the Deadeye on the debris of the announcement tables. Just every damn spot they did in this match, it just felt like it had a purpose. It felt like it had reasoning. It felt like why they did the spots that they did it because they wanted to win. The amount of pin attempts in this match is something that I really liked also. I liked the fact that each guy constantly went for pinfalls because they knew that the minute they let up on the other individual, that the other individual was going to capitalize on it and beat the dog shit out of the other guy. That was the whole story behind this match, was just fortitude. Was just fortitude. They didn't need any blood. They didn't need any gaga bullshit. They just went out there and beat the dog shit out of each other. I like how I will say 50% of this match was them just throwing fists at each other. Fists and elbows. That was the majority of this match. It just... You know what? People are going to probably criticize me when I say this. And I mean this. I truly do mean this. You know, this match kind of reminded me of a little tiny bit. Again, people are going to probably hear me say this, thinking about Devontae, you're taking it too far. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. It reminds me of a new age version of Ric Flair and Terry Funk. That's the kind of vibes this match gave me. It gave me Ric Flair, Terry Funk vibes circa 1988. That's what this reminded me of. I just love the fact that, yeah, Will Ospreay flipped a couple of times, but he didn't rely on the flips. He relied on throwing hands. This is the most aggressive I've ever seen Will Ospreay. By far, and it's not even fucking close. It really felt like he was pissed that he couldn't put away Hangman. And then Hangman, on the other hand, it felt like he was just desperate. You would think that it would be the other way around, especially with how they were telling the story building up to this. You would think that Will Ospreay would be the desperate one. As a matter of fact, Will Ospreay got aggressive so much throughout the match that certain times the crowd kind of turned on Will Ospreay a little bit and they were cheering for Hangman. Because it's just so unlike Will Ospreay to be as aggressive as he was in this match. And it wasn't aggressive in the sense of him throwing 3 million power bombs and doing 3 million cutters and 3 million super kicks. As a matter of fact, I think I remember him only one time throwing a kick in this entire match, that hook kick. That's the only time I remember him throwing a kick, and maybe the super kick in the corner. That's about it. Everything else is just throwing hands. Everything else is just throwing hands. This was just a classic match of just two guys who just so badly... I'll say this too. The story of this match, the main idea of this match was not so much that the guys wanted to win the match. That's what it came off to me. The story wasn't the guys wanted to win the match. The story was they didn't want to lose. Does that make any sense? Neither guy really wanted to win the match. They just didn't want to lose. And it was just, it's so refreshing, especially in a company like AEW, when you see a bunch of bullshit, all the gaga, all the weapons, all the blood, all the flips, and all this nonsense, to see two guys go out there and have essentially what you would probably say is bringing the NWA from the mid-80s into 2025. I never thought I would say that about a Will Ospreay match. He brought NWA and Hangman. They brought NWA in the mid-80s to 2025 and gave it a little bit of a spin. I love this match. This is one of those matches that's gonna have replay value for me. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna watch this match again. This was fantastic. You got to go out of your way to watch this match. Like I said, for me, I can't speak for anybody else. This is my match of the year. This is definitely of any company. I don't care. This is my match of the year for sure. For sure. Because like I said, it wasn't just like doing fucking finishers and having guys repeatedly kick out of it for the sake of kicking out of it just to pop the audience. It was because they just wanted the other guy to stay down. My only critique about the match, and I wish they would have done it, and I mean this in the smallest way possible. I think just to show how desperate he was, I wish Will Ospreay would have attempted to go for the Tiger Driver 91, because that's his main move, right? And it's almost as if I feel like, and I know they won't tell this story. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If they have the common sense, they'll tell the story. That it almost felt like Will Ospreay was kind of holding back because he never attempted the Tiger Driver 91. He should have attempted it, and if, you know, they were going to go with the finish and have, what's his name, win the match, Hangman, which he did win the match, you know, there should have been at least one attempt of the Tiger Driver just to show how desperate, how beyond desperate Will Ospreay was. I feel like without him at least attempting the Tiger Driver, it felt like he was holding back a little tiny bit. I feel like he was holding back a little tiny bit from a character perspective. And I just, again, the selling of this match was just phenomenal. I never thought Will Ospreay had it in him to sell like that. And Hangman for that matter too. I mean, Hangman's pretty decent at selling already, but I never thought they had it in them to sell like that. I mean, they fucking sold like they were a WWE main eventer. They sold like they were WWE main eventers. I can't put this match over enough. Go out of your way and watch this match. Don't watch anything else on this match. You just on this show. Fuck this show, except for this match. Except for this match. Even the botches looked like they were on purpose. That's how fucking good this was, man. But overall, this show, I will say on the strength of the main event, this boosts this show to being mid. Without this main event, this show's trash. This show's fucking trash. The opener was alright. I liked the opener a little bit with the women. The two finals, they delivered. The women's match, it was good. It was solid. I'll say that. And then the men's finals was just phenomenal. Just fucking phenomenal work. And everything else in the middle, you can just fucking skip. Everything in the middle was just absolute fucking garbage. But that main event, that's what wrestling is all about. That's what wrestling is all about. I wish AEW would do shit like that more often, and I wouldn't have to criticize them like I criticize them. But like I said, this show, very, very fucking mid. Go out of your way to watch that main event and then just ignore everything else on the show. And maybe if you want to, I'd probably say check out the opener too. But that's gonna do it for the show review, man. Just that Anarchy in the arena match completely drained me. It's a mockery of professional wrestling. It's so fucking crazy how you can have one match that is the absolute drizzling shits, just the fucking, like, absolute fucking joke, a mediocre clown show of professional wrestling. And then you have another match which just completely exemplifies, and it's why I love professional wrestling. I've never seen that on a pay-per-view ever in my life. A show that makes me hate watching wrestling in 2025, and then a match that's like, fuck, there's hope. There's hope. I can't put this match over enough. Go out of your way to go watch it. It's match of the year by far. Not even fucking close. Eat your heart out. I don't care what you say. Yeah, that's gonna do it, man. So as always, let me hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. How did you feel about the main event? How did you feel about that stupid ass Anarchy in the arena match? Let me know your comments down in the comment section below. And as always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you fine folks later. Thank God they ended this on a good note. Man, probably the first time I remember a main event ending in AEW that didn't give me a headache. Good shit. Good shit. A deuces and a P. Ice.